Welcome to Speak Up Tampa Bay. My name is Donovan Myrie. I'm your host for this evening, subbing for Louise Thompson. Tonight we'll be talking about the Patel Foundation for Global Understanding, specifically the Cultural Carousel Ball. Joining me tonight is Dr. Pallavi Patel, Vice Chairman Emeritus for the Patel Foundation for Global Understanding, Dr. Kiran Patel, Founder and Chairman Emeritus for the Patel Foundation for Global Understanding, and Jacqueline Conley, Volunteer Coordinator for the Marrakesh Marketplace. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming by.
Thank you.
So where do you want to start? Let's talk about specifically the Patel Foundation. And we're going to start off with you, Dr. K. Tell me about the Patel Foundation.
Thank you, Donovan, for having us here. You know, I've always been involved due to my parents' influence in philanthropic work in the past. As I evolved and matured in business and other areas, I felt that it would be nice to have a formal foundation that could carry out the wishes that we've had to try and impact the world. I was born in Africa, grew up in Zambia under a British educational system, then went to India for my medical education.
Where you met your wife.
Yes, and she was my classmate, and thank God I was in India, otherwise I would not have met her. And my parents felt that by going to India, at least I will reconnect with our culture, and ultimately came to United States, where we both did our training, I in cardiology and she in pediatrics. But many times I say, because I have been in so many places, I had no real home, in a way, a nomad or a global citizen, and therefore thought of having a foundation with a name of Global Understanding.
And you are somewhat of an American success story, okay? You came here and you started your own, is it HMO, is what you guys started?
Yes, I think I started practice of medicine, and in early 80s when the managed care came into the area, I embraced it primarily because I had always felt that I did not care what type of insurance a patient had, I have to just take care of the patient. And at that time many people were resisting being involved in managed care or an HMO. Mm-hmm. Personally, I thought rather than fighting the system, let's be involved in it and take care of the problem. And that's how I've focused on all the things I do in my life. And in this case, I felt that instead of complaining, let's create a physician-owned, physician-managed company. Therefore, the onus of care, etc., is felt on the physician himself.
And you were here in Tampa Bay. You had how many facilities? Was it, I was reading about 14 or so?
Yeah, that was in my medical practices. In the early days, I evolved first from practice management. We had roughly 14 locations or so in the Hillsborough County, starting from Plant City to Brandon to Tampa. So in that aspect, we started with multiple locations for primary care physicians, and then ultimately evolved into a practice management from there to a healthcare company.
And I was reading somewhere along the line, you also took over a system in New York that was not doing very well.
Yes. It's funny, you might have heard the old ad of Remington shaver that the guy was telling, I like the shaver so much he bought the company. In my case, I say I like the name so much that I bought the company. It so happened that WellCare was the name of this company, mm-hmm. and initially they were suing us for the name. But things didn't turn out well for them. The mm-hmm. company stock, which was in the $40, went down to the pennies, and they were in trouble. And I felt and saw an opportunity of expanding into that market, and that's how I got involved and took over that company.
Okay, now Pallavi, pick up the story, okay, because now you've got this company, you've got managed care down here in Tampa, you've got a place up in New York. What happened next?
Well, at that point, we were still very, very busy in our primary care practice and cardiology with Dr. K being a cardiologist. But he had to choose whether he wants to, either he wants to do the cardiology practice or he wants to develop the HMO and take it to the higher level. So he sort of retired from cardiology and he focused on HMO, and of course we had a great team also who helped us, and it became a true success story.
So less cardiology, more running the business.
Yes.
Then what happens?
We also continued, I personally continued managing the practices, and when the
If
opportunity arrived, we
If I may
sold.
interject,
Okay.
We were fortunate enough to take it to $1 billion revenue company.
Yeah, I was going to get to the money part.
But at that point, to take it to the next level, we had to involve other entities, and Soros Private Equity Group invested into the company and brought in a management team to take it public.
Now, did you ever dream this would happen?
Not in my wildest dream.
I mean, you started off as a doctor. You both started off as doctors doing obviously something you both loved. Did you ever think it would be so successful? $1 billion.
Yeah.
Usually, throughout the life up until that, we were acquiring somebody, and Kiran kept telling, one day we are going to put it all together and sell it. And I said, I don't know who is going to buy all this, everything that you're acquiring. But anyway, that was his confidence and his vision that made it happen. Because sometimes you wonder whether you really want to, grow this big. It's like blowing a balloon, and you don't know how big it's going to
get before it pops.
But if you have that, if you have that judgment, and that really helped.
Now, the investors came along. It's $1 billion company. Are you done with WellCare, or are you still involved in it?
Well, I am a board member, and as such, at the higher level, am involved with the company, but not on a day-to-day operation. My focus now has changed to philanthropy. 50% or more of my time goes in projects that are both local and international. We have many, many projects locally that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and projects both in India and Africa.
Which is the next question. Tell me now about the Patel Foundation for Global Understanding. And that's just one part of a lot that you two do, right?
Yes. I think locally, I feel that you evolve as an individual, and for me the first step was to take care of ourselves. By that I mean make sure our future is there, children, etc. Then expanded our influence sphere to the Indian community, which in the 80s were very small, in creating a temple through the community member support and the India Cultural Center. And then as we expanded, we got involved in the local community, and as our means expanded, our reach expanded, and we were able to get involved at the charter school at the University of South Florida, which is a school unique in the sense it was the first school ever under a university system. But more importantly, it was taking care of socially handicapped children, children who came from single family homes. Parents could be drug addicts, alcohol, sometimes involved in other things. And we both felt that if you can give a solid foundation, then you can get them out of this system. And the best way to help anybody, I feel, is providing education. So we started in a big way, in my opinion, with the university's partnership to create a school that focused on kids in what we call the suitcase city.
Okay.
And this way, our hope and desire is that those students will get a firm foundation so that they can get better education. Not only that, we've expanded the program to Patel scholars, and we feel that if a student remains drug-free, alcohol-free, and maintains a minimum standard of education, then we will assure him a secondary I mean, a college education, either in degree or one of the programs of air conditioning or plumbing or electrical or something, so they become functional contributing citizens of this society.
Okay. You haven't left Tampa. Pallavi, why haven't you guys left Tampa? We're so
We-
lucky to have you here.
We love Tampa. We were doing our residencies for pediatrics and cardiology fellowship and all, and we kept visiting Tampa because we had a family here. We had small business here. And so the goal was to come back here for good. We love the weather, we love people, and there is so much opportunity for growth. And our children, and it's like almost being in India or in Africa. So it's like home, away from home.
It's your home away from home. Okay. We are surrounded by all of this. Jacqueline, hi. We've barely talked to you today. What is all this? Why is all this here?
Well, this is a small taste of what's going to be at the Carousel Ball. It's part of the Marrakesh Market. At the ball, when you enter our grand gates of the Marrakesh Market, and you walk in, you will see rug merchants, snake charmers, Tampa dressed in its best cultural outfits, and you'll be able to walk around the market and truly experience a bazaar market of, items from all over the world.
Kind of like the Marrakesh
Kind of like
Bazaar.
the Marrakesh Bazaar. And, you'll be able to taste foods from around the world, experience the music, the dance, the art of all the cultures around the world.
And I'm going to go to Pallavi for a second. So, Pallavi, explain the Cultural Carousel Ball.
On 1st of April, we will have our second annual cultural carousel ball. Usually in that we bring a flavor of all countries from all over the world, which includes the decor, the food, costumes, and it really develops atmosphere where you can feel that you are actually in that part of the world. And we have created different areas where there will be decor, the food, and everything, plus an elephant,
Oh, not just any elephant.
Patel elephant,
The telephant.
will be present in each area. These elephants are actually size of a baby elephant, and they are decorated by different artists. And each elephant is unique. There are 10 elephants, and that will be by itself a good reason.
And we can see some of what we have at this year's ball on the
This is part of
screen.
the decor on different elephants.
Yeah, so tell me
And
what we're seeing here.
Yes, what you're looking is this is the North Indian elephant, and the decor shows the uniqueness of North America. And now this is the Egypt. So when you are standing near this elephant, you can experience being present in that country. And these are decorated by amateur artists who has donated their time and efforts and their art to create this creature, and they are each sponsored by different sponsors, and the proceeds goes to the foundation.
And these are not small elephants.
No, they are
You kind of
truly,
saw a
I mean,
picture before where you guys were standing in front
if
of
you
them.
are standing next to it, they are about 8 feet total
The
height.
idea here was to support local artists too. So a combination of two things was happening. Support the local artists to promote their art, and also give a message of that we are a world, and the whole theme of world is we should be to each other, and forgetting the barriers of class, creed, and nationality, and make it a true melting pot that the America is.
And that's part of your, I guess, mission statement for your foundation, for global understanding, correct?
Yes. As I had mentioned earlier, I consider myself a global citizen, and I feel that the world will be a better place if we understand each other and the cultures of each other. And art and music is a way of conveying and forgetting those barriers, and that's one of the focus, and that is where you see the food, the culture, music, and costumes and all coming together to tell a story of unity and how we can all live together peacefully.
And this is the second annual event that you guys are holding. Tell us about the first one, because it wasn't Patel Elephants last, I guess, almost a year or so ago.
15 months ago.
Right, in December of 2004. It wasn't elephants, was it?
At that time we did horses and
Carousel horses.
carousel horses, and then from the charity ball day, they then traveled through Tampa International Airport, St. Pete, Clearwater Museum,
Many other
Convention
locations.
Center. So they were displayed at different locations. But the horses was our first effort, and we liked it so much. And they became so favorite of the people that we decided to do elephants this time.
Okay, and I hear you still have a horse,
Yes.
correct?
We
Really?
still have the horse,
You
yes.
still have a horse. Is it in your office or
We
Yeah.
have one, yes, the
at
India.
the foundation office.
in the foundation office?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes this event so different from other charity events that get done here in Tampa Bay? Because it's not just you show up. I mean, we're talking about people getting dressed up. And I mean, not just, it is black tie optional, but
Yes.
there's a lot more to it than that.
I think two aspects of it. The first one is that we encourage the traditional dress of different countries.
All different countries.
As you know, people in the United States have come from all parts of the world. And this could be at one location where they can show off their traditional costume. But more importantly, the concept here was to support other charities. If you think about it for a moment, when a small charity, they don't have the mechanisms and machines to actually raise funds, and when they do, they will spend 50% of their money. So if you think about when you give $1 to a small charity to raise that money, they might have sent 50 cents. While at the Patel Foundation, what we are doing is if you give $1 to that charity, we're going to add 50 cents and return $1.50 to the charity.
But it doesn't stop there.
Yes, so in reality, what you have done is leverage the dollar 300% for the local charity. So in that form, we will be supporting at least 12 local charities, sometimes 14. And on that single day, between $300,000 and $400,000 will be raised for local charities, and we feel good about that.
And again, you stayed here in Tampa Bay. I mean, nobody has said thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're very lucky to have you here.
Yes.
Very, very, very lucky to have you here.
Yes.
Anyway, we will be back in about 90 seconds or so. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Bailey, that was a great job. Everyone just loves that.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Pallavi, how do people get tickets and find out more information about this event?
We have sent out the invitations like this. If you can remember a large decorative door going into traveling the globe title. But they can also go on the website www.globalunderstanding.org and phone number is 813-471-4380 extension 621, and they can get the tickets and contribute to our wonderful goal that we have.
Okay. Jacqueline, the Marrakesh Marketplace. We are surrounded by absolutely beautiful pieces here. Tell us about the Marrakesh Marketplace, and also tell us about what you do, because a lot of these pieces are brought to this event from you and your husband, correct?
Correct. Well, first of all, I just want to say it's an honor to work with the Patel Foundation. And the Carousel Ball is one of the events, philanthropic events, that put Tampa on the world stage. For Tampa to attend this event, how often do you get to dress culturally and eat culturally? Eat from around, like you're just on a plane, traveling from country to country to country around the world. And you're celebrating. And many times we get to travel, many times we get to celebrate, many times we get to eat. But how often do you do all that and you get to raise funds for wonderful nonprofit charities here in Tampa? So the Marrakesh Market is to take the guests that we have that night on this wonderful journey of exploration, of culture, arts, dance. We have snake charmers, belly dancers. We have didgeridoo players. We have
what kind of player?
Didgeridoo.
What is a didgeridoo?
A didgeridoo is it is from Australia, and it's from the Aborigines of Australia. It's a wood carved instrument, and it sounds like wham wham wham.
Oh yes, okay.
Yes.
That wham wham thing.
Yes, the wham wham thing.
We always called it the wham wham thing.
Well, for those who haven't heard the wham wham thing, this is a great place to come and experience it firsthand, to hear it. It's a night of sights and sounds that we don't usually see in Tampa. This is a ticket to go around the world in one evening. And as you explore the marketplace, you will see, how many people have ever seen a snake charmer? Or we have these gentlemen, they're called Inca Sons, and they're from the Andes Mountains, and they play the pan flute, which is about 4 feet tall. They play about 5 or 6 instruments with them at the same time, and they're dressed in the regalia of the indigenous people of the Andes. And they're there expressing their music and dance. And just picture walking through this glorious world that we've created at the Tampa Convention Center. Once you enter the Marrakesh door, you will no longer feel like you're in Tampa. Once you see all not even just costumes, but people in their traditional cultural garments, which many times, because of our work or what we do for a living, we don't get an opportunity to wear them as often as we want. And this is a night to take them out of the closet, dust them out, come out, put them on, and just mingle around the world.
Now, what exactly are you wearing? I mean, this is very, very pretty.
Thank you. It is Chinese. It's called a chipa.
Okay.
It's from China, and it is very comfortable.
Go ahead. I'm not done.
Oh.
Keep telling me more.
Well, we will see people in African wear, in beautiful Indian wear, Chinese, Japanese. You think of the culture and you think of the cultural outfit. It is there that night. And it's also, for Tampa, it's that great awakening to culture. Many people come to Tampa and they say, well, where is the culture? It is all over Tampa, but this is the opportunity for all the silos of culture to come out and be
you'll
together.
Find it in one place.
And in one place on the one rooftop. And for a great cause. Not just to get dressed up and go out that night, but dressed up, go out, celebrate, eat, bring friends, bring family, and be able to contribute to nonprofits.
And Dr. K, I'm going to ask you in a second more about the actual event and things, but before we do, Jacqueline, tell us about some of the things that are here I've got one camel next to me.
Yes, you do.
He's
Well,
really cute.
he visited us from Morocco. He came over from Morocco. And the nightingale next to him is from Persia.
Okay.
And then this is a tagine, and it is traditionally Moroccan, and you cook in it.
Oh, okay.
And the steam softens all the meat or vegetables that's cooked within it. And our elephant here, not a patelephant.
Not a patelephant. It's too small. It's
He's
a
too
shrunken.
small.
He's a little guy.
And nobody's painted on him yet. But he's from India. And this is also from Morocco.
Okay. And which was the tagine? Was this the tagine?
This
over
is the
here?
tagine.
Okay. And
Would you like me to show it?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Oh.
It's quite beautiful.
Okay.
And it's handmade. Thank you.
And what exactly do you do with this again?
Well, usually it's larger. This is for a smaller meal, but it's about the size, usually the size of the table, and it's a way of cooking where the steam goes up to the top, and all the juices from the meat stays within the dish, so you don't lose any juice at all, and it just tenderizes the meat and
And then it
the
comes back
spices
down?
Comes back down. It's an Eastern pressure cooker, if you think of it that way.
Oh, and is it made of wood?
This one in particular, it's a ceramic that it's made of. Usually it's made of a clay, a
Okay.
cooking clay.
Okay.
And
what else do we have here? We have all types of things.
We have a drum from the Philippines,
Okay.
and
the
that's
Philippines over
also,
there.
yes, it's very
Hey,
different.
no playing.
And it is a ceramic drum, so the sound of it is a little different than the drums from Africa. And we have shakers from Africa.
Okay, you can play with the shakers. Do you want to play with the shakers? Pick up. Let's
Oh
see.
boy.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. And you
Okay.
will, the Kumba dancers, who are one of Tampa's oldest African
shaking.
groups, are also there.
Okay.
Yes.
What else do we have? I see.
Let's see. We have a fan from Thailand, and it's hand painted.
Okay, that's the fan over
Yes.
there.
We have a Kashmiran rug from Kashmir, and it's made of silk,
Okay.
and it's hand woven. We have a Matrushka doll from Russia,
I love
and
those
it's
things.
hand painted.
Okay.
And they come in sets of 5 to 12, and they shrink as they go down. And this is the story, I believe, of Cinderella on it. Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
so
it's-
yeah, so I see on the front there she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
she's at the
Beautiful.
ball.
And how many does that particular one have in it? Do you remember?
This one has 12 pieces in it, but
12 pieces
they're
in
not.
it.
They didn't come with her today.
Oh, okay. Shouldn't have opened it.
They stayed at the ball.
The secret is out.
The secret is out. There's nothing in the Matrushka doll.
And we have geckos, and they visited us from Haiti, and they're all hand painted from Haiti. And this giraffe that we have here, he came from Marrakesh.
Oh, okay. And all of this and a lot more
Oh, and a lot more.
Will be-
Things beyond people's imaginations
will be available.
will be available there.
All of this and a lot more will be
Yes,
available
yes.
there. Now, is this your first year working with the with this event?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes,
And what have you
very
heard from
exciting.
last year's event?
I heard that Tampa has never seen such a party in the sense of community and people, coming out and meeting each other and networking and not just celebrating the different diversities of the culture. Just an event that when they come away from it, they have felt that they did something for the community of Tampa by being there.
Okay. I'm going to turn back to Dr. K for a second. Very, very successful 15 months ago when you did this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How did you originally come up with this particular idea, okay, of this kind of global, I guess, party?
Again, conceptually a firm believer that today the world is shrinking with technology. You can beam yourself in seconds in any part of the world, something happening. The planes, all those type of things. So I feel that the more awareness we bring of cultural diversity, more understanding we bring to people, because the fear is of the unknown. And I think this type of environment where you can get people together and explain cultures, show them the diversity, and show them that there is nothing to be worried about or fear. I mean, fear of unknown is there. So this could be one good way. And second, as I mentioned, was to select charities locally that are small that people can help.
Can you tell me about some of the charities that you guys or that this festival will be benefiting?
See, this time, there are at least 12 charities that are focused on, but in the
Judeo-Christian.
general theme of this is that where we can impact a lot more people, and if possible, we will focus on smaller charities. So rather than naming the charities, I feel that the type of emphasis given is to try and help groups raise more money, raise awareness amongst the community so that their functions can go up too. Because there are many, many organizations in this town that are doing good work. And it is important that we bring them together. And one of the other ideas here is simply that charities can work with each other. Because if you have your focus in different areas, many a times by partnering the charities work, although you preserve your own identity as a whole, you are able to make a larger impact. So not only say if somebody is giving food and somebody is providing education or somebody is providing transportation, if you focus on an area where these are gaps of this type and by each other working together, you could probably create a bigger impact in that community.
Okay.
Because when you have disjointed efforts,
Right.
many times the end result is not as good as a coordinated effort. So it gives opportunity for even the people involved in charities to network. So
they network with each other.
Exactly. So the whole idea is giving the message of cultural diversity, focusing locally to help locally and figure out a way of all working together. And one aspect that I like about is to give a small individual donor. Now, I'm using the word small in not a way, but you don't always have to have a large dollar amount to impact. I say you can help by simple smile to a person, helping somebody across the street or asking them how you are, but to give them an opportunity to get involved. And here somebody could do with a $300 ticket, because what is very important is that 100 cents of that dollar, not 100 but 150 of that is going to charity.
Right, because again, for every dollar that is donated, your foundation matches 50%, correct?
Yes. So that as a donor, say Donovan comes in and gives $500 to a charity, he knows that $750 are going to go and work for a charity of his or her favor. So this way, by rotating some charities, we are involving a lot more people, giving the chance of people in the community to participate. So not only at an individual level, at the organization level, and as a community, we can give a good positive message.
I'm not an expert on philanthropy, but is this normally the way it's done?
Well, unfortunately, most philanthropic work is done and the financial resources usually is pooled from individuals. So yes, it is done, but the uniqueness here is that the Patel Foundation is adding and giving back. So when you give $1, you know for sure you're getting $1.50.
Right.
So that's where I think there is a difference, a dual aspect that A, you are increasing the returns, but that way, like I mentioned, that the individual donor will get a lot more value for his efforts.
Okay. Turning subjects for a second, specifically, I want to know more about your grant or your gift to USF. biggest gift they've ever gotten?
Yes.
34 million? 34 million for USF. Judy is very happy. She loves you.
I am sure she does.
She is really happy. Dick Beard is really happy.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Now, what will that 34 million go to? Because it's not just $34 million.
Yeah. See, I think, again, using the philosophy of leveraging, partnership with government and other donors, this gift will ultimately mean a minimum of about $70 million to the university. But what we dreamed about and what we wanted to do is create a do tank, not a think tank.
A do tank, a DO tank, not a
Yes,
think tank.
Think tank. See,
Tell me about a do tank.
There are many institutions you can think about in many universities that sit in the ivory towers and write papers about something. And what I am telling is, let's go on the ground and do something in different parts of the world, and then see if that paper that somebody writes about, is it really working, or make it the reverse. Do a project that is working and then create a paper on something that has experimented.
And has it worked or has it not
Yeah.
worked, or is there a different
And what
way we
tweaking
go with
can
this?
be done. So by doing that, we can really make the impact at the ground level.
Are you the first person to ever think of a do tank?
Well, I am not sure. I can't be too arrogant. I am sure there are many people in this world who do it. But I can only tell you that our intentions when we were making this donation, and a lot of discussion had occurred when a gift of this type is given, whether it is the right thing to do or wrong thing to do. But I felt that an educational institution will be a place where the academic brains can be harnessed and then used in a practical manner. And I believe that this is a different approach from many. And in time to come, with the right leadership, it will grow to the heights that we are imagining. And it will touch many lives. My belief is a Nobel Prize winner can be born from this gift at this institution, and that should be, because something that is impacting the world, something that is changing lives, is what I'm hoping we'll be able to achieve through this gift.
How does that make you feel? You are leaving more of, or you have the ability to leave more of an impression than most.
I think first I have to thank God that we are so blessed. And I believe that most human beings, when they wake up in the morning, have a feeling that they want to do something good. I don't think you wake up in the morning telling that you want to be a bad person. And some people are blessed, and some people are able to do more, and we are those. And I feel really happy because, someday we will leave this earth, and instead of things happening in my absence, I like to do it in my presence. Yes. See the impact of what I have done and enjoy that impact. So,
Pallavi, same question to you. How does it make you feel? And again, I know in your wildest dreams you never thought you'd be in this position.
Yes. I think being fortunate as growing up, we were able to have what we wanted or what we needed, and we were able to get the education and be where we are. We feel that there is a tremendous need for this type of help, a little push, and in some part of the world, a lot of push is needed. I mean, every day you are looking at the news and all you see is how serious the problems of poverty or malnutrition and terrorism is, all over the world. But you hardly see anybody talking about a solution for it. Or you may hear about so many $1 billion are given by this country or that country, and I mean, you have heard that for years after years, but you still see the same pictures on the TV when they'll show, Darfus or some of the African countries or Haiti, or I mean, you will like to see the improvement in the situation, but you don't see it, and that really makes you wonder what's wrong with this picture. There's enough money, I mean, at least on the paper, and there are people who wants to do something about it. So I feel that our Global Solution Foundation, at the foundation, we will like to really brainstorm or maybe even create the students who has tremendous energy and desire to make a difference in this world. There will be a platform for them, and personally we will always be involved. Judy has a tremendous staff and academic experts on this issue, and we want to really see a difference
Create
on the ground.
students that can go to the countries and actually spend time there and really learn the issues on the ground. So that
Not
would be-
from that ivory tower that
Yes.
you're talking about. You want people actually there to see exactly how to solve a situation.
And that, I believe, will be the difference, and that, I believe, can be more impacting. And when students of that caliber come out, they could probably help people in Washington advise better to how to focus the resources and in what direction it should be going.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. Be back in a couple minutes, and we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Kiran Patel and his wife Pallavi and Jacqueline, who's got all this wonderful stuff for us. So stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back. Jacqueline, I have a question for you.
Yes,
A question
please.
for you concerning volunteering for this particular event. How does one volunteer? Because you need volunteers, correct?
Yes, we do. We need many volunteers. And to volunteer for philanthropic organizations and for nonprofits is needed not only on the carousel ball, but in our community in many areas. And if you want to volunteer for the carousel ball, please call the number on the screen, and someone will answer all your questions for that night. But it is a night of enjoyment for volunteers. The volunteers that we need is in many areas, for entertainment, for greeting, for just hosting our guests that night.
There's a lot to do.
Yes.
If I may say so, it's beyond the ball also. At Patel Foundation, we have focused areas of impact on healthcare, on education, women's empowerment. both locally and internationally. And therefore, depending on your expertise and your desire and your time, one could volunteer to give time, for example, at the Pallavi Patel clinic, and a different specialist can be going there, or a physician, to provide care to those kids that I've talked about.
The charter school.
Or on the educational front, to be mentors to some of the kids. Or if they wanted to do, we carry out health missions overseas and volunteer time there, not only as a paramedical or a medical person, but even as a citizen, one could come in and help on activities internationally. So the opportunities of participating are plenty, and depending on your skills and desire, there are lots of work, different types. And what excites me is the international aspect, because of two reasons. A dollar goes a long way in third world countries. For example, a child can be fed for 25 cents a day. $1 a day would basically clothe him, feed him, and educate him. So you can imagine a $30, which would be one night pizza party, or even half a pizza party for a family, could save a child for a month.
But how do you guarantee that that money gets to where it's supposed to go?
I think that's where at least I can talk about what Patel Foundation does. What we have done is selected very focused local areas in Africa, Zambia where I was born, Tanzania and India, where I know for sure that the dollar is going to be utilized properly. Now, how can the donor know? We will make sure that through internet and webcam and all, they are able to keep in touch with the progress of that child, and they will be able to communicate with them on internet and get what's going on.
The Patel Foundation is a lot more than just this particular ball or the USF donation or the performing arts donation. What are the future plans? What's next?
See, I think in the next 12 months, hopefully, we will be able to announce a opening of a heart hospital in Tanzania. 12 months ago, we had sponsored 50 children to have their heart surgery done from Tanzania, children from 6 months to 16 years who were taken to India and had undergone major heart surgeries, including valve replacement, etc.
That was the 50 hospital bed that you did?
No, the
No.
50 children
50 children. Okay.
were given heart surgeries in India.
Wow.
In
the
Bangalore.
heart hospital.
Lions Club of Dar es Salaam paid for the kids' airfare, and we paid for the surgery. That was one project, but then I thought that why don't we build a hospital in Tanzania? So we were negotiating with the government to give us a land, an interest-free loan, and we will then raise other money and start a heart hospital there. We are also involved in building a HIV hospice center in Zambia and a hospital in my village, native village. And after the earthquake in Gujarat 5 years ago, we were instrumental in rebuilding 4 hospitals in that earthquake-torn area.
What was it like going home after the earthquake? Because a lot of people don't know about that particular earthquake or just kind of glance through it through the news.
I mean, you know, any tragedy is something not very pleasant, and especially when you see the impact to these people, and in countries where the infrastructure is poor and the transportation and resources are limited. The experience are manifold. The local camaraderie, the way they help each other, you can witness those type of things. International help pouring in. But once the TVs are gone, the cameras are gone, I think the work still remains, and that's where the Patel Foundation can be proud of, that although we do limited work and primarily focused on education and health, and therefore we had rebuilt 4 hospitals, had an orphanage for 100 kids, and a school for them built in those areas. So in a small way, whatever we could, we have done it. But the beauty of that project was the leveraging of resource. With a mere contribution of $300,000 from this country, leveraged by our resources and the resources of Gujarat government and European community, we were able to build 4 hospitals.
Wow. Starting
So-
with just $300,000.
Dollars. And that is what I would like the listeners to know, that what a dollar can do in developing countries and the third world countries, number one, and number two, what the Patel Foundation can do, because we try to leverage the resource every time possible with other governments, etc.
Pallavi, I have a question for you. You can't do this all by yourselves, can you?
No, it's not possible to do it by ourselves.
But you're doing very well.
I think one of the very important thing we have is everywhere where we have started a project or thought of having a project, we have found a committed on-ground person or people who will also join hands and keep us posted on their progress. And we visit India about 3 or 4 times a year. We visit African countries once or twice a year. And of course we are here in US. We travel significantly for different causes. So the help of other people also make us look good. But the ideas, the thinking, and the planning is where we really get involved in.
What about other people who have the means to do this? Are you challenging them? Are you saying, look what can happen with your money?
I think primarily first step was to do something, because credibility is always a question, because one has to prove themselves. I feel good that what we've achieved so far is remarkable, and therefore to the listeners and to others, I would say that if we were all to join hands, we can do multifold impact in the world and locally. So the message that I have first is to do something ourselves and show what can be done before asking for partnerships or support. But I think we've now reached a point where we can show projects around the world that are doing very, very well. I mean, the Performing Arts Center did not happen by one person or one individual. There are thousands of donors, from $10 to multi-million dollars. And similarly, in anything we do around the world, it is going to need involvement of many, many people. And we are hoping that as we continue our work, people will join hands with Patel Foundation and help the Patel Foundation reach its dreams and vision of helping mankind. And I always say that no amount of resources a single individual, country, or an NGO can do. It has to be partnership, partnership of working together. And that's the message I give, and that's the way I try to work with the governments and other NGOs. And if it is of a common mutual interest, then it would be great.
Okay. We have about 3 minutes left. Jacqueline had a question for you. Vendors. We were talking during the break about vendors, okay, for this particular, for the carousel event.
Yes, there's space available for vendors from all over Tampa Bay, or even outside of Tampa Bay that would like to participate in this. We have booths for sale, and they're housed in wonderful tents that look like the tents you would find in the Marrakesh market. And not just vendors, we're also looking for sponsors for this event. It's a great time for charity. It's a great time to also, it's an event where you become a vendor, but you get to make money at this event as a vendor. and contribute to charity at the same time. We get many opportunities to make money. Not too often we get the opportunity to do both of them, to make some money and to be able to contribute to charity.
This is an important thing for Tampa Bay. I mean, it's only your second time you guys have done this, but this is going to be around for a long time, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
That is our hope and desire.
Final things, we have about 2 minutes left. What else would you like to add, okay, specifically about the carousel event and the Patel elephants?
One of the elephants that we have is created in the theme of New Orleans. And it's very decorative, colorful, and elegant like New Orleans. The artist, Gail, she is from New Orleans, so she contributed her check that was given to her as a thank you for her artwork. She donated it back, and we matched it, and we sent it for the Katrina funds. And some of these things, heartwarming things that we see from people who really don't have a lot of funds, but it brings out the best from the heart of the people who works around us, and that is wonderful to see.
So we would want to encourage as many people to come and attend the charity event, be a participant, enjoy the ambience, and try and help other people in whatever ways they can.
Okay. Dr. Pallavi Patel, Dr. Kiran Patel, Jacqueline Conley, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It was
Okay.
our pleasure.
Thank you for allowing us to talk about this.
Oh, it was absolutely my pleasure. Okay. Basically, again, one more time, the event is
On 1st of April at Tampa Bay Convention Center, and just log on the website and
what's the website?
www.globalunderstanding.org,
Okay.
and
All
they
right.
can get the tickets, and we will love their support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.